Hey everyone, Chris here with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal in Palm Beach County, Florida, and today I want to go a little bit over my plan for 2023. I know it's only November, it's just November 2nd actually, but I'm already kind of trying to plan a little bit for next year because I don't want to do it last minute and then get overwhelmed. So I'm just getting ahead of the game for everything. I just want to go over a little bit of my goals, my plans, not in real thorough detail because that will be a long video and I know none of you want to sit here for that. But I do want to go over some of the things I plan on focusing on, things I really want to put more emphasis on, and specific parts of the business I'm really striving for, and others I'm kind of laying off of. So this is what I have here for now. It's only 5 things, and then there's just like little branches for each one. So if you're in the same field, you're setting up your goals, go ahead and throw down a few that you're aiming for next year. And if you like this kind of insight, make sure to like and subscribe for more. I post twice a week now, going over my ups and downs of being a business owner in the junk removal industry. So without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into it and just sail through this whole thing as quick as possible. So the first thing up is finances, budgets, and profit first. Now, if you did not attend JunkCon or you're not an avid reader of business, these books were given to us at JunkCon. Mike did a performance or a seminar, I don't know what you call them, but it's something I am really bad at. I do not pay myself almost ever for the business. And it's tricky because somehow I still pay my rent and my bills every day. But I am really bad at paying myself. It's just something where it's like, it's my business, so I treat it like my business. But if the business doesn't bring money, what am I doing differently than when I was at the moving company, you know? So my goal is to utilize that, and I will get into the details in a moment. But to start things off, as far as finances go, I already know this, but I just wanted to be a little bit more of a thing that I focus on daily, which is knowing my expense breakdown. So I know how much my bills are every month, every week, every day. If you break it down, I know on average how much I spend on gas. Everything else is pretty much per job. So like my disposal fees depends on the job. I can't really calculate that. I can't really find an average, or I can, but it's not likely to stick. So that's very job based. So I just make sure that my prices are well enough that in the event I have a heavy load, I'm not totally losing out. The next thing is cost of services. So I want to know how much it costs to dump. Well, I know these things already, but I want to be more focused on what type of material costs more to dump, or if I have to go the extra, step to really dispose of it, maybe in this area because a dump doesn't allow it. So I have to bounce around, use more gas and time. So how am I going to charge better for that? Things like that. And then as far as budgeting goes, I just want to look at ways to save cost overall. It is a business. We do have tax write-offs, but at the same time, money that goes out means that it's money that's not going into your pocket or the business's pocket. So I do want to make sure I can cut down on costs and not try to do so much impulse spending or buying just to buy. And the next thing is to create spending limits. So marketing is one thing where that might get moved around a little bit depending on how busy I am or if I feel like I need to kind of up my spending in certain areas. But for the most part, I want to create a limit to where I'm not, updating my uniforms every 6 months unless I need to, or I'm not investing money in tools unless I feel like it can actually utilize in more of an efficient way on my jobs. And then as far as profit first goes, the main thing the book talks about is setting up an envelope system to where every time money goes in, you're pushing it out into 5 different accounts, which involve your operation expenses, taxes, general savings, owner's comp, and something else I just forgot because my cats are fighting. But that is something I definitely want to make sure that I'm doing for every single job. So that's what I'll be setting up through the end of this year. Next on the list is expenses and marketing tracking. Now, not necessarily costs, but just tracking everything in general. So I want to know yes, I want to keep track of the money that goes in and the money that goes out, where it's going to, the average job cost and size, how many discounts I'm giving out. Are they just discounts just because, or are they kind of predetermined based on like if someone brings me, you know, one of my flyers that has a coupon, or if they inquire through my website, you know, there's the things I already have discounts set up for, but I want to see where else they're coming from. Or if it's a senior discount or a veteran discount, you know, I can kind of figure out what my average is for the month and the year. Because if I'm getting a lot of senior discounts, that means that that's becoming a priority for my audience, and I may want to push in those developments a bit more. And then I also want to make sure I'm keeping track of my marketing cost and the time I put into it. So not that I necessarily pay myself for my time I take to go do my yard signs or handing out flyers or cards, because that's just operations of a business owner, but I do want to keep track of how much time I am putting into it. So in the event I do want to pay myself for it, or maybe do monthly pools, or one day do a salary, I have a little bit of a better idea of how much money I am actually contributing as far as the value goes. And then as far as our marketing tracking, I do want to focus on doing my target marketing that I learned in JunkCon, which is very specific to areas that you would do for a prolonged period of time. I also want to keep track of how many signs I'm putting out every time I do my weekly signs, or how many I'm doing per job site in the area. I want to know how long my ghost routes are taking, how much mileage I'm using, and then do a breakdown cost of how much gas I'm taking up for each trip, so I could try to work out a more efficient way of doing it. And I also want to keep track of where I'm marketing to. And I want to do that with dates, because I mentioned this in the video a couple ago, but JoJo was talking from Sonoma Strong Hauling. We were talking at JunkCon, and she mentioned that if they start getting a lot of people that mention, oh, I saw you on Facebook, I saw you on Facebook, I saw you on Facebook, she'll look back at her posts and see what were they posting around that time, because whatever it was working. So I want to do stuff like that to where, you know, if a bunch of people are starting to come from Google, did I update my CEO, my keywords? Did I do something to my website? You know, did I push for a promotion somewhere? You know, where is this wave of people coming that's seeing me through Google? The next thing is vehicle maintenance log. I already keep track of my mileage and the mileage I use on my trailer for purposes of tightening the lug nuts or checking the PSI every X miles. Greasing the axle every like 8 to 10,000 miles, and just over wear and tear on the trailer. So I already do that, but I also want to keep a better log of maintenance and parts that are needed, how much it costs, and when they need to be done again, so I can keep better track of that. Next up is my marketing plan, which I plan on breaking down into monthly and weekly. And again, that's going to be target marketing. So I'll be picking a zip code I want to work in. So somewhere that's maybe a little bit higher end, or country clubs. You know, I don't want to just throw out signs in places I already know I'm likely not to get a phone call. We all have those areas where our services just aren't going to be used. This is a luxury service. Someone who is money savvy is not going to use us. So I definitely want to push for areas I want to be in, and that'll be by zip codes, and I'll be focusing on that one time at a month. So I really have to be picky with where I'm choosing. When I do my signs, I don't want to be random anymore. I want to be smart about it, so I'm not wasting signs, because they're not the cheapest thing. So they're going to be very strict to sticking around storage units, or by intersections, or places that I don't think they're going to get taken down the next day, or places that have tall grass, because that means lawn care is going to be done soon and the sign's going to be ripped out. So I want to be smart with how I do my signs. My ghost routes, I want to be more effective with and fuel efficient. You know, I want to make sure I'm parking out front at areas that I know are going to be in traffic. I want to be sure to drive down roads that are going to be bringing in more eyes, not the back roads. When I do my marketing cards, I will be going everywhere. So if you see my videos before, I do assisted livings, I do apartment buildings, storage units, realtor offices. I want to spread that out into doing small businesses and commercial buildings, and really try to get into more restoration companies, try to connect with more contractors, and I need to just venture out and really pinpoint each of those places. Networking events is something that I've already been talking about a little bit. I've been really bad at doing it this year, and I really want to be consistent next year, whether I'm doing at least 1 to 2 events a month, but ideally about 4, depending on how busy I am. Whether it's something that's online, or I'm going into a coffee shop or a restaurant, or maybe it's an actual workshop. It's just something I want to make sure I'm doing where I'm meeting people or learning about different ways to better operate my business. SEO daily. I want to make sure I'm keeping up to date with my Google My Business. I'm updating my keywords on my website every so often. I want to make sure I'm changing up my prompt that shows up on my Google search when you look up my business. I want to make sure Yelp is being updated, my pictures are being updated, and I'm updating good pictures, not crappy, blurry ones. I want to make sure that everything is fine-tuned so that I can perform the best I can, because Google is one of the best ways to be found. But if you're paying for Google Ads, that's expensive. If you're not, SEO is really what you need to have to really reach those better results without having to pay. And then the last thing is postcard mailing services. So I made a video specifically talking about this about a week ago, where I talk about my thank you cards plus some ideas I had for next year. And those ideas are to send out 4 postcards a year. 4 postcards a year. I want to do a New Year's, a spring cleaning around March or so, a summer because most people are either moving or doing projects at home or they have time off, and then a winter. I always do a holiday anyways. It's usually like a thank you, enjoy the holidays kind of thing. I've been doing that since I started business, and I do thank you cards after every job. But I want to do the other 3 so that way people are seeing me 3 to 4 times a year through mailage. Plus, I may look into doing either a marketing campaign or doing like text blasts where you can just send out a reminder like, hey, just a reminder in case you need junk removal, maybe tag in a little promotion or something. But just something to be in your customers' faces like 4 to 6 times a year. And then the last thing is goals tracking, which I want to do. Sorry, I was trailing along there. Goals tracking monthly, weekly, and daily. So my goal for 2023 is to pull in over 100,000. Now, technically I opened business in 2020 in like the fall, but I was just basically utilizing September through December to get all my insurances set up and get my website built and making sure I have everything I needed to do with the state and the IRS and stuff. So I didn't really do any jobs 2020, and I was still working at the movie company. Cats, man. 2021, I officially opened business January 1st, but I was still working at the movie company. Not that the business was necessarily on the back burner, but it was not my main priority. So I mainly did it either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I think like halfway through the year I switched to like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because I used to think weekends were the better time, and it actually turns out weekdays are usually pretty good. So at most I always usually worked 3 days with the business, and if I didn't have a job lined up, which wasn't uncommon, like I was a nobody, I usually just worked at the moving company. So I didn't put a whole lot of work into it. Even this year, I didn't leave moving as a part-time job until like May or June. So I've only been doing this part-time for about 5-6 months. So it's even back then, it was something I wanted to push for because I was getting tired of moving and busting my butt for 40-50 hours a week for 18-19 bucks an hour plus tips and stuff, but still. So I was never super on top of doing my marketing and my networking and really investing like an utmost amount of time into the business. So that's why I really want to push for this. My first year, I only pulled in like 14 or 15,000, because keep in mind, it's a couple of days a week. I'm not really big. I'm not pushing for it. And I just didn't have the best branding and marketing tactics. Last year, I think I only did like 28,000, so a little bit better, but nothing crazy. This year, I'm projected to be a little over 50,000. So, I mean, since I quit the moving company, I basically made more money in the last 4 months than I did all of last year. So, I'm hoping 2023 is going to kind of reflect that and then some, because I'm also building in my foundation that I have. So I already broke that down. It's $8,300 a month a little under 2,000 a week and 273 a day. My goal is to do 8,500 a month, 2,000 a week, and 300 a day. So I'll be pushed a little over 100,000. And then I want to make a log, basically counting down, keeping track of my jobs each week, every day, to where I can, I'll put like, let's say 2,000 at the top. And every time I do a job, I'll calculate from that 2,000. So as I'm going through the week, I can see where I am on track with my target for my weekly goal. And then if I surpass that, I can utilize that surplus to kind of maybe delegate it towards different tasks a little better. I also want to build a savings fund, like an emergency fund of like 6 to 12 months for the business. So in the event, because I'm the only person operating this business and doing the work, if I get hurt to where, let's say I throw out my back, for example, and I can't find people to work for me, they're not under my insurance, so they can't use my truck and trailer. I'd have to get them U-Hauls. I want to make sure that if I can't operate my business, it's not going to go downhill. I would like to not have to restart if I don't have to. So I want to have an emergency fund for the business. And then my goal is to also get a dump trailer, which I would have to trade in my truck for. I've already kind of figured out how much it is and what trucks I need to trade it in for. A dump trailer for a 7 by 14 foot with 27-inch walls in my area is $12,995. After registration and taxes, it comes out to about $13,800. That is why I haven't gotten one yet. But we're going to try to push for that. The good thing about it too is I also want to start doing trailer rentals. So kind of like a dumpster rental, but with a trailer, where I'll just drop it off. The customer has it for X amount of time, and they'll get priced by load size among a few surcharges. And the purpose of that is basically to create other streams of income without having to do the work myself through the business. So I'll still have the trailer I have now, which is the aluminum one, and I'll still use that on jobs when the rental is being utilized. Otherwise, I can use the rental trailer for when I have construction jobs, or if I have real big jobs that are heavier in weight, or if I need to, maybe hold a little bit more, I can use that for the more heavy duty jobs. Whereas my current one will be used as a secondary, or maybe to hold scrap, or whatever the case. So that's the goal for the upgrades. Next up, I want to utilize help on full loads, even if it's not necessarily a difficult job. Even on my bigger jobs, I'm usually doing it myself unless it's gonna kick my butt, and even then I still usually do it myself. But I want to try to utilize help if I can on bigger jobs, just to cut down time and cut down on overall effort over the long run. And I figured the full loads because that's going to be the most profitable even if I hire someone out. It's kind of hard to make profit on anything less than a quarter of a truck if I have to pay someone, $40-$60 for their time. And then the last thing is I want to build up my personal network of about 20 plus people, whether that's realtors, professional organizers, contractors, just people in general that reuse me a lot or refer me out to people on a constant basis. I want to build that pool up. And then I also want to work in at least 10 plus facilities as a vendor, not including the 5 assisted livings that I already worked through. So whether it's storage units, apartment buildings, or some kind of commercial building that swaps out furniture a lot. But that is it for 2023. Those are my goals. Once again, go ahead and comment down a few of your own. I would love to hear them. And let me know if you're just kind of going with the flow and you're just going to try to push a little bit more for what you did last year, or if you're going to be revamping your full style, or if you're going to be adding on stuff you haven't done yet. Just kind of keep me in the loop, because I would like to kind of work with you guys and kind of achieving our business's success and not just going with the motions, which there's nothing wrong with. But that is it for me, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.